Hey, let me ask you, since you brought up the hotel keyring thing, I was reading Just Incredible's book the other day, which, believe it or not, has a bunch of little good stories in there that, I mean, I was kind of blown away at how much how entertaining it was. Anyway, he had a story in there about the everlasting key ring. Have you ever heard that phrase before?
No.
God, it tickled me, Bruce. Here's the gist of the con, if you will. Back in the day, sort of pre the electronic key card standard that most hotels use, they used to have regular, like, house keys. And of course it would be on like a plastic diamond or whatever. And so apparently some of the guys would then, check into their room, get their key, and then make a trip down to the Home Depot or the Lowe's or the hardware store and get a copy of that key cut. And then write on the key, say, Days Inn, University Drive, room 431, Huntsville, Alabama, and throw it on a key ring. So the next time they're in Huntsville, well, I don't need to get a room. Let me first go to the old everlasting key ring after the matches, ever so gently slide that key in room 431, just crack that door. And if nobody's in there, ta-da, free room. It tickled me. This is like the biggest con I've heard since the meat scandal with Kenny Bolin you told us about years ago.
Well, yeah, I don't know that anybody ever made, I don't know anybody that ever made copies of I know guys that would keep their keys and do that, but I never heard it referred to as the everlasting key ring. But yeah, guys used to keep their keys and go back and just see if it worked.
It's amazing.
Again, but a lot of times those keys would have that do not duplicate. And there was something about the way that the hotel keys were made a lot of times that locksmith wouldn't duplicate those keys. But that didn't stop guys from just taking them and say, oh, no, man, I left it in the room.
Ah.
And they would go back and they've got plenty of keys at the front desk. So they just put another one out and go, oh, well, we lost that one.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I mean, guys used to carry them in like a bank bag.
Yeah.
Like you do your cash and stuff and just throw them in there and stuff. And you'd go back and then try. But also some guys, weren't as careful and just would go in and say, hey, this is my room.
Oh, God. Well, that's not going to work.
Fun to have Buddy Roberts come in. Hey, I got a key, don't I?
Okay, so it wasn't always a foolproof plan. Some of the guys maybe took advantage of this little scam.
And yeah, it screwed it up for the rest of us, my God.
The rest of us. Listen,
I never did that.
Well, since we're talking about old wrestling scams, I mean, of course, everybody's heard the old, hey, there was a hair in my soup. So, whatever. Are there other little gimmicks on the road that you saw guys do where you're like, what the hell?
No, I always hated that, because I don't know why. I guess it was just something, my dad instilled on me that you don't mess with the people that are taking care of your food and things of that nature, and that they're working hard just like everybody else. And if you do that kind of scam, you're really hurting the server and you're hurting pretty much everybody on down the line.
Absolutely.
So and there was another, but this isn't a scam. This was just a good piece of advice that I've kind of carried on to this day. When you're really hungry and you go into a restaurant, the first thing that you do is order soup, because the soup is ready and the soup will be hot and it'll be served quickly and it, will warm you up and at least satisfy you a little bit. So a lot of times when I'm real hungry and I'll go in, I don't care what the soup is. I'll just get whatever soup you have, because all they're going to go do is go back, put the ladle in, put it in a bowl, and here you go.
I got you.
So I learned that very, 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 very early as a kid in the business when you'd stop and get food.